is Hard Parking, sponsored by Right Honda and Right Toyota out of Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm your host, Jhae Pfenning. If you guys didn't catch the last episode, 10 Days in Puerto Rico, it's very entertaining, according to a lot of the people who have listened to it and a lot of the feedback. If this is your first or second time listening to this podcast, please take a moment to review. Give it a 5-star, give it a 1-2 sentence review, especially if it's on Apple or Spotify. That means a lot to me. Coming up on today's show, TRIGGA3 in studio. TRIGGA3 is a local musician here in Arizona. I met him through the car world. We don't really know each other. In fact, this conversation is the first time we've actually had an actual conversation other than a few social media DMs trying to set this thing up. He is very expressive and he has very interesting music, good tone. I bought his very first song that came out and I bought his most recent one. So after this word from 4 Wheel Online, TRIGGA3. Jhae Pfenning here, and I want to tell you guys about 4 Wheel Online. For over a decade, 4 Wheel Online has been bringing the best truck accessories and truck parts to enhance the appearance and performance of all trucks and SUVs. They are dedicated to providing an extensive range of upgrades that will match any maker model on the road. The truck products cover everything you need to give your truck a custom look and added functionality. And if you need a tire and wheel package, head over and use the configuration tool. They carry all the major brands of wheels and tires, so go get outfitted today. So visit them online at 4Wheel Online or call them at 813-769-2451. Again, that's 4Wheel Online, the number 4 Wheel Online. TRIGGA3 in studio. Thank you for making the time. Welcome first off to Hard Parking. Thank you.
I appreciate it. It's a blessing to be here.
So this is really my first time having a real conversation with you because we've had conversations on social media about cars. Years ago. 2020 comes. I think the last time we had like a car conversation was the Fuel Fest was coming up. And we were talking about exchanging some tickets. Fuel Fest got postponed. Next time I see you, you're done with the cars. I don't know if you're completely done, but you were done at least at the time, so you might be completely done. We had a really micro conversation about your personality. Anyone's personality is wrapped too much. Their identity is too much wrapped up into their car. And people need to remember you for you.
Exactly.
Not for your car. And then you spent the time investing in yourself.
Yes.
So first off, what's up with the change? What's going on with it? And we'll get into the music and the why in a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, for about 5 years, I was building my car and I started with the 2016 Ford Focus ST. It was a brand new car. So I started getting into cars more heavily in that aspect around that time. And then some things in life happened. And then I pretty much started a car club called Unashamed Racing.
I remember that.
Yep. And then I kind of, expanded off of that for quite a few years, probably like 3+ years. And then as that time went by, I started seeing a change just in the car community, just started realizing like it was just about cars. Like it wasn't really about the people, So many people that I had specifically in my group, me being the leader, I saw so much potential in, but it kind of just got crowded, like, with just focusing on who can win awards and stuff like that. And it just became just a competition show, So I started getting into more seriousness as far as building the new ST, because I did have 2. Some people think I had just 1. I ended up getting a second one, and it had some crazy raps done by Rap Sesh, some other people as well. I did a lot from air suspension, all that kind of stuff. And I got a lot of sponsors. I got a lot of, I guess you could say, clout. And I was building the car, not necessarily as focused on the clout aspect, but more of making a difference in kids' world, because there's a lot of kids that looked up to people in the car community.
That's true. That's facts.
It's one of those things that some of those people, we got too focused on who had the best car, who had the best look, quality, everybody was all about quality, which totally understandable.
Right.
But we got so competitive to the point where we lost the people, So I feel like the community just needs to take a step back and like realize that there's still there's still people out there that have more to share than just a car, you know, because we could just one day, you know, you never know, that car can be gone. That person, I mean, it can be gone too. Are you going to remember them for the car? Are they going to remember them for who they are, you know? So I started taking a step back, you know, in 2020, specifically with COVID and everything. I started seeing just a lot of things change in my personal life. And, you know, that was kind of the road to my journey of finding myself, of where I am today and where I'm going. So, you know, I miss my car. I miss all that stuff, but you know, it's just not who I am. So despite how the people want to view it, you know, so.
Yeah. Cause everyone who you meet in the car community, and you're right, cause it is a car community at the end of the day, they remember you for the car, for sure. Yeah. When I first moved here, when I was getting people's names, if I couldn't remember their name, I would type the car in my contacts and they would pop up, you know, John, NSX, Arizona. I'm like, oh yeah, that's John. You know? Exactly. But at some point you have to separate the person from the vehicle. And it's funny that you say that, because this podcast to its core is designed to, and we've kind of gotten off track of that a little bit, but it's grabbing people that I've met or they're in the car community, and we talk about cars for 5 minutes, if that. And then it gives me and the listeners an opportunity, and the viewers in this case, an opportunity to learn who this person is, because as you know firsthand, the people you see at these car meets, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? You don't know nothing about them. You don't know what they're going through. Yeah. You know, so yeah, that's why you're here. Yeah. Was we wanted to have this conversation because, like I said, the last time that I saw you, you were kind of we were talking about you're about to leave the cars behind. You've rediscovered yourself. What was it? Is there anything you can share about what caused that change? Was there like a single incident or a sequence of incidents? Like what happened?
It's quite a few different type of incidents. I just, you know, it's crazy how life works. It's some of the people that were in the community that were basically I was leading in my car club. They came back to me a couple of years ago and realized what I was doing, and they took what I had and what I was doing for granted. Because I did get pretty much abandoned by pretty much all the people that I put my time, effort. I mean, I put my money, I put everything into these people just to make them shine more than myself. I was still building, you know, my car to shine as a leader, but I started, one thing that I really took pride on with building cars was just actually being there for people, you know, like building people's characters up. And, you know, the thing that honestly really took a turn into events was, you know, a relationship that I was in. That was probably one of the main things, because I also didn't know who I was. I was chasing status is what I was doing. And I started realizing after, you know, building cars and everything, you know, there's just like Ride or Die talks about. She talks about mental health, something that honestly really turned everything away from the car scene was I realized that my mental health was not okay. So with that mental health aspect, I started taking, you know, everything into consideration. Like, I can't keep living like this, you know, and I can't sit here and put a mask on and try to cover it up. And there's so many people out there that do that. And it's so easy for them to do that because they're so busy working on cars all the time to the point where they forget about who they are and working on themselves, you know? So, yeah, it honestly just seeing the toxicity from, you know, just the people I would deal with all the time, even though I was just trying to be a good human being towards these people, you know, it was just, people just take it for granted, you know? I hope that there is change. I still believe in change. I never put it on the pedestal of where you see these people, you know, building cars like, oh, they're not, you know, the best type of people, where they want to take in consideration that, there's more to life than just building cars,
How dare you?
I'm just sad. I love. See, I still appreciate cars. I still appreciate those relationships. Like our relationship. Like we barely know each other, but there's that unforceable desire to actually get to know each other. You know what I mean? And I feel like something with cars always, like I'll stand for it to the day I die. Like cars is a good gateway for people to express themselves. It's a form of art. Anything you do in life that's a passion is a form of art. So I see that was my art for a while, and it turned into as what I do now is making music. So there's always these different type of forms of art. You just gotta know how to find your beauty in it and find your passion. Find what are you trying to accomplish? Because people do things and they don't have goals. They just have these goals of making money, and they just have these goals of reaching a status, but they don't really have a goal to fulfill people. And that's something that we lose sight on too much.
Correct.
So yeah, that's where, my mental health is honestly the breaking point of when I kind of separated from the car scene. It just was too much. I realized it over time, and I dealt with the repercussions of it, and but
like what kind of repercussions?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's hard to talk about. I don't know if it's explicit enough for this podcast, but just attempted suicides and stuff like that. Some people think that
and why is that? Is it because your identity was wrapped so much into the car scene,
mm-hmm.
and admittedly, that's how I knew you,
and
that's all I knew about you. And then now you've removed that aspect, and maybe a sense of loss, 2020, all the above.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's honestly like it's one of those things that I know a lot of people deal with it in the car community. I've seen it firsthand. I've lost about 3 friends in the past 2 years from, suicide. And it's a very hard thing that people really don't take the time to comprehend fully, mental health, how important it is wherever you are in life. And just the judgment. I feel like the judgment, just being judged my whole life, how I've looked, what I do, just being the person I am, simply. Those are things that just trickled up as I grew up. I've made some songs about it. It hasn't gotten better. It's just gotten worse. And one way to cope with it is to acknowledge it and to admit that, look, I'm dealing with this, and that's how you get better in life. But yeah, it's just 2020 was a hard year, especially being at home all the time.
Right.
Like I don't know about you, but I was at home trying to figure out what to do with the car all the time. Like, what am I going to do like after I get this COVID check right here? And then, what am I going to do with this and this and that? So, and then obviously coming up with shows, like big shows to small shows. Like I remember those weekends where I would dedicate those weekends to literally just focusing on getting the car ready and, obviously getting the team ready, doing things like that, figuring out ways to put ourselves out there, in a way where we can get more recognition. So,
yeah, really, at the end of the day, that's accurate. And I mean, I did the car show scene as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, you get the sponsors, like you said earlier. Yeah. Now you owe the sponsors. You owe them the photo shoots. You owe them all the clout on social media.
Yeah.
Then when you're done with that,
mm-hmm.
it's like, I'll go to a car show every once in a while. Now I go to Cars and Coffee.
Yep.
But if it's, and I'm not, crapping on any of these shows, but if it's like Import Face Off or some of these other shows, I have
Elite
zero
Tuner.
interest. Yeah, Elite Tuner. I go to Sport Ranger, but I haven't gone to the last couple ones.
Yeah.
Because I no longer have what I consider a show car.
Mm-hmm.
And for the people who look at us car people is, yeah, we have a cool car, but they don't see the hours. They don't see they don't see you losing yourself behind the creativity of that car.
Mm-hmm.
And you're up till, 3 or 4 in the morning, knowing you knew about this show for months
Mm-hmm.
to get your car ready. And then you get up in the morning at 5:36 for your roll-in, and then you're there all day long.
Yep.
When you're done with these shows, like you are, like I essentially am,
Mm-hmm.
you can go when you want, if you even want to go.
Yep.
And that's such a huge, burden
It is.
off of what you do. But then then what are you going to do? Right.
Yeah,
So I turned to podcasting because I no longer travel.
Mm-hmm.
I used to travel every week for most of my kids' lives.
I would see you
Posting from somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't even know where this fool is.
But it's, do I want to rebuild my gaming computer, or do I want to focus on the podcast?
Yeah.
Like yourself with your music. And my friend Wes said this: people want you to know you for you. I don't want to necessarily be associate you directly with something material.
Exactly.
Unless you're doing something. So with you and the music, you made that transition. What was that like at first? Because that's difficult. I mean, that's got to be even more difficult than doing anything with cars, right?
Yeah, it's very difficult, especially when everybody knew me for a car, and I built my TikTok to my Instagram. My whole following is, I went from 40K on Instagram to I'm now at 32K going down. That to me is a big mindset shift, where you can either take this as a positive or you can take this as a negative. There's so many different ways that you can go about on that. Same thing with TikTok. I went from 160 to I think now 129K. So views, likes, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
The years, the hard work prior to me blowing up on TikTok for a video. I don't even remember I have the videos still, but I took them down just because I was still getting views, and I was trying to break the algorithm and everything. And that's one of the biggest things that when I first started off doing the transition, because some people don't know what I was actually in between that time of me actually going into music. I was trying to stay in the car community.
Right.
I was really trying. I went from the ST to ended up actually, it's a crazy story. I put about $45,000 into that car over time. Paid the car off, everything.
This was the second one?
Yeah, this was the second one. So but everybody knew it as Prime, Optimus Prime, pretty much, because I did have that wrap, and then I turned it into black. Once I decided, just because of some relational situation, I obviously was like, you know what? That's more important to me than a car.
Right.
So I decided I needed to release that ego. Ego is the biggest thing that I had to let go. And so I let it go. And once I did that, I actually did it with somebody from New Mexico. Somebody from New Mexico with a 370Z came all the way out here just to trade cars and then drive my car back. No cash. Nothing. I
just straight up trade. And honestly, did I lose in that situation?
I think I did in a way, because I just put a lot of money into it prior to that a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got into that, and then I got another car. It was a FRS, because I miss driving manual. I hate driving automatic cars. I don't know about you, but I'm just not big on automatic cars. But yeah, so I did that, and then I got a truck, and then I sold that, and then that's when I decided to let go completely. I was driving my mom's car for a while, I'll be honest. I was driving my mom's car around, just figuring out life, what I was going to do. Then I got my feet wet in the industry, the music industry. And
what got you into that?
It's so weird, how you attract the energy that you give out. And I was at a bar, went out just to get my mind off of things. And this guy came up to me. He was an artist, and he was like, "Hey, be my manager." And I was just like, "What?" I don't know what to do. I've never done this ever before. But me as who I am, I I don't sway away from stuff like that, you know? With that being said, like I ended up just kind of going cold-blooded in it, you know?
So, I mean, what were you doing for this person to come up? Did you just do like a performance? Were you just sitting there drinking a Dos Equis?
I was literally, it was outside of the bar and I was about to leave and it was closing time. It was like 1 a.m. in the morning and this guy, I'm going to be honest, this artist was, you know, a little bit of tipsy, but he was serious, you know? And, you know, next day and everything, we started slowly getting into things, developing a relationship. And then, well, I obviously sold my truck and everything. And I ended up putting a lot of money into him. You know, with that being said, that's kind of what sunk me into there. I got him a distribution deal through a concert like competition that was out here in Mesa. And then, you know, shortly after that, it was probably like almost a year goes by. This is where we basically split ties. And I started taking a step back and realizing that it felt like I was in the car community again. It really did.
Well, I can only imagine, you know, having talked to Mimi Ride or Die, as you'd referenced earlier. She's a current musician and has been like in the industry for a long time.
Which I didn't know. I didn't know she was into music like that. And then she posted, actually, believe it or not, she's never told me that. We've had multiple conversations. And she posted something about her music and I was just like, what? She makes music? I mean, come on, let's make a song. Like, I mean, I feel like we could really connect because I don't really when I make music, I want to connect with the person. Of
course.
You know, I've made music with people that I just don't connect with and it's just not like, it doesn't feel like it's natural, you know? So, but yeah, you know, after that, I got a manager and then he helped me get basically my feet wet because I had 2 other artists that I knew that was trying to collaborate with my old artist that I was managing. And they told me, you know what, Trey, you should be an artist. And I was like, nah, I don't know if I have what it takes. And I got all these negative thoughts in my mind, things that people have told me in the past, you know.
Like what?
Like you can't sing, you know, you can't rap, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that, like gruesome stuff.
Right.
Like that's just kind of like the clean version of it. Cause I still replay the visions in my head that I had to go through. At least when I would sing in the car, we sing, I don't know about you, but we sing in the shower, we sing in the, you know, so it's one of those things, like every time I would do it, I would just get put down. And and then after that, I was like, you know what, let's do it. So I sit there, I still have my first song that I ever made. It was absolutely trash, I'll be honest. I don't know what I was doing. And the guy that was helping me trying to write, because like this is stuff, I was like an infant again, you know, teaching myself all these things. And I didn't know how to do it, you know? And so after that, shortly after that, I started actually making music with my manager. And, you know, it was good. I'm going to be honest. To this day, I hate my music from when I first started. And it's been a year from actually June 3rd. It's been a year since I started making music, like actually making music.
You have a lot of stuff out there. I was SoundCloud creeping you earlier.
SoundCloud, yeah. That's where I put all my unreleased. I like to, just because I look up to Juice WRLD, you know, rest in peace to Juice WRLD. But, you know, as far as, you know, how he did his music, some other artists like Lil Peep, you know, those people I've looked up to, you know, how they make their music. It's real. They talk about their life, you know, they talk about, you know, what they've been through. Not all of it's good, you know, positive, but for the most part, they're actually dealing with it, you know.
It's their expression. It's their car.
Exactly.
It's their project car. It's the music.
And that's what I like to look at music as. It's like, it's my new project car. You know, I had all these other project cars before where I would spend countless hours, midnight, my ex-girlfriend and her mom saying, go to bed.
No, that's not how this works.
I would sit there.
That's not how this works.
I would put one little detail on there after another detail. I'd sit there in the garage. My car is baby garaged. Like, it's in there. And I'm not driving or anything, and I see dust on it. You know, it's ceramic coated and whatnot. I'm sitting there still detailing it. And it's freaking 2:00 at night. And it's like, the next morning, what do I do before I go out? I wipe it off. Like, my OCD kicked in crazily, like madly. It was just, that was just how, and everybody knew me for how clean my car was. So, you know, it was one of those things. And it's crazy to this day now, as one of the things that I do on the side, you know, to help fund, you know, my independent artist fund, is detailing cars, you know.
Okay.
So I detail cars, you know. I have my other job that's my full-time job, but I do that on the side. And it's actually a good stress reliever in a way, but it makes me kind of miss the cars a little bit. You know, it starts making me think, oh, what kind of car should I get, you know, when I'm ready to get another car? Am I going to build it? I mean, no, that's not my focus, but is it going to be hard? Yeah, we'll see. Because sometimes when I say something, I do the opposite. And like, I try not to, but.
What is your day job?
My day job is, everybody just looks at me and goes like what? Like, I'm a manager at a cake shop.
What? No, hey, that's fine.
Yeah, they come in and they see me and they're like, "Who's this dude?" Wrong store, you know, just because how I look, you know. Yeah. But it's like when you first talk to me, and that's one of the things that my focus, my goal is. You see me, you don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
We judge too many books by their covers, and it's like if you actually just give people like me, like the people out there that have tattoos on their face and stuff, not everybody's scary. Just because that one person that may have committed a crime or something like that, I have a clean record. It's going to stay that way.
There's a stereotype. Yep.
Yeah.
The higher up your tattoos go, the more, you know, crazy stereotypes there are.
Like, I get how much time have you done? I haven't done any time. I haven't, like, at all. So, you know, it's one of those things that, being a manager is at a cake shop. It's called Buddy Cakes. It's in Scottsdale. Gonna have to get some. I was gonna bring you some, but today's my day off, so that's gonna be another day. Fine. Unless you're on a diet, because if you're on a diet, they're not good on a diet. So
yeah, I eat the good cakes. I'll skip the protein cakes for now.
Well, we do have a peanut butter one.
Oh, that sounds delicious. I'm over here trying
to sell cakes on a podcast.
No, that's right.
Now.
Yeah. What is the address of that? Where can we go? No. So how would you describe your look? For the people consuming this on audio.
Yeah. So, you know, fully tatted, head to toe, face tats, clean face tats, tattoos with meaning. It's.
You don't have like a Tweety bird on your tricep or anything?
No, I don't have one of those. Honestly, I have pretty much. I mean, I have some mess around tattoos on here. You know, I have like the Louis Vuitton like look right here. I got the Drew house just because, you know, one of my inspiring artists is Justin Bieber. So people throughout my childhood have always said, "You look like Justin Bieber." Or I get the one every time I'm in LA. Every time I'm in LA, I get an MGK comment.
Oh, of course, right.
So it's like, you know, if you want to see, or if you're just listening to an audio of this, just envision a MGK mixed with a Justin Bieber and a Little Peep. Those are like the three that I like to mixture.
Now picture that selling you cakes.
Yeah.
Managing cake employees, right? No, but it's a very, I don't even know if I would describe it as a modern look, but it's a very modernly accepted look.
Yeah, yeah.
For most normal people.
Right,
you know,
right.
The old schoolers, you know, they're going to judge. But I would imagine if you walk past, you know, a quartet of kids, you know, school-age kids, they're going to look at you like you're freaking Superman.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at that dude. He's so cool looking. Who is that? Is that MGK? No.
Exactly. No, that's the last time. It was some kids. It's usually always kids that come by. One kid, it was in LA, and it was off Rodeo Drive, and one of these kids were just being a-holes, pretty much.
You can say asshole.
Assholes. Like, they were literally being assholes.
Fucking kids.
Kids, man.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I want kids, but then I'm like, how this world is right now, it's just...
The world is the world.
The world is the world, and we're trying to make it a better place. So that's my goal as an artist and as a human being, you know. Cars are always going to be part of my life. So, you know, it's regardless if I'm not building cars, like it's just, it sucks. Like one thing that's mentally kind of shitty is the people that I really had good friendships and relationships with in the car community. Once they started seeing that I wanted to be doing something else other than cars, unfollow.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you leave a job. I've talked about this, I think, before. You could hang out with somebody every day. You can go to lunch with them every day at work. Mm-hmm. As soon as you're no longer there, you keep in touch a little bit. And before you know it, 6 months, a year, 2 years gone by, and y'all could have been best coworkers at the time because you're just detached from that environment that, you know, you all knew each other so well for.
Codependency.
Yep. That's it.
That's one thing that, I could talk about for a very long time because now I'm independent. I go to lunch by myself. I go to the movies by myself. I go places by myself all the time. I've been, you know, as I've portrayed in the car community with my club and everything, you know, I am a Christian, you know, but I don't push it onto people.
Right.
I just be myself, and who comes, they come as they are. That's just how I live my life. If
you actually have a track. So we're recording this on Monday, June 5th, but you have a track that's going to be out by the time this comes out. Mm-hmm. It releases in 5 days. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like basically what you just said to me.
Yep.
Listen to that earlier.
Yep. Yeah, that's one of the things that, I mean, it's just, if you just be yourself, like you'll be surprised how many people out there will just latch onto it, you know? You know, people that have a story. There's so much. I could write a book. I mean, I started writing a book 3 years ago. I don't know where it's at because life happened, you know, but it doesn't mean I could never write a book again, you know. There's just so much meaning in what I've done, you know, and continue to do. You know, I'm not done. Job's not finished.
Job's not finished. How would you describe your music? How would you describe your music, your message, and your sound?
Like genre first, as far as because
it's kind of in a mixed genre when I listen to it.
Yeah, it's honestly it's a mixture of hyperpop to rap, hip hop, and it's a mixture of all those like into one. So if you like NF, I don't know if you've heard of NF. He's going up on charts. You know,
I don't know shit about music these days.
This guy,
I'm
NF,
old, dude.
People know who NF is.
Yeah.
Car community knows about Juice WRLD.
Okay.
I can tell you that right now. If you know about Suicide Boys, if you know about people like that, because that is music that people make car content with.
Yep.
And my music is more of like a sad boy type of music, you know, but it's also happy music. But it's just really authentic. I like to put it in perspective as like it's authentic, real, sad, happy music is what it is. And I like to not put myself in a category because if I can only do one thing, what does that make me?
Right.
You know, it's like if you can only build one car, what does that make you? You know what I mean? So like it's one of those things like expand your horizons. There's so many things in life that you can do. So many things. I'm making my own art, you know, I'm making my own brand. Like I'm doing all this stuff from scratch. It's not perfect. It's not yet, you know. It's honestly going to never be perfect, but it's always going to expand and it's always going to mold together, you know, more and more as time goes by. But yeah, my music it's just a mixture of like I got the rap, you know, but I like to sing. So I really like to get in the feels. That's what I like to do with my music.
What is your ultimate goal for your music?
There's a lot of goals.
There are, yeah.
There's a lot of goals. I mean, the first and foremost goal is to make a difference in people's lives. That's one of the biggest things that I strive for as a human being, just making people around me better. You know, people need to be better in life, you know. I mean, I wear it on my pants. It says be better, like be better in life. Like have a better mindset. I remember waking up every day for years having a terrible mindset after years of training, being a basketball player. Because prior to, I've had stages of my life. I went from an athlete to a car influencer to a musician. So I've had 3 stages of my life where I've had to basically start over, you know. And so my goal as an artist is to continue, because I am impacting lives just by small numbers right now. And I am humble about those people that I get to impact, that actually get to listen to my music, that actually take the time, not to listen to just these mainstream artists. You know what I mean? We forget about where all these mainstream artists started. Juice WRLD had like 200 people on his Twitter, just Twitter, and he blew up off of SoundCloud. I'm not a SoundCloud rapper. I don't want to be known as a SoundCloud rapper. But, just one of the things that I really want to do is just, impact people, plain and simple. That's everything else. I want to obviously build a family, build my life off of music. You can build your life off of your passion, the money and everything like that. That's just an additive to me, in my opinion.
You've done, I think you've done performances.
I have. I've done 2, and I actually have one in Los Angeles on next Monday. So a week from today.
So how did you go about, because you're independent, how did your managers help, find those for you?
So my first manager, he hasn't been in the picture for a very long time. I went on by myself pretty much from last August of 2022, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. Yes, August 2022 is when I started basically just being like, you know what? I need to start my brand. Because 3 months prior to that, it was about 3 months, that's when I was making music at first. So I had 3 months of just him being my manager, and then I cut ties on that, and then I started doing my own thing. It's when I started figuring out, okay, I need a logo, I need a vision, and I need a purpose. That's what I need right now, and so that's what I started doing. And then I had a manager that I ended up actually crazily. It's a crazy story how I met my manager now. He's in Canada.
Let me guess, you were at a bar.
No. No,
right.
It was not at a bar this time. It was actually at a bungalow.
Okay.
So if you know what a bungalow is? Yeah. So for the people out there that don't know what a bungalow is, it's where you go pretty much at a hotel. It's a hostel, and meet people you've never met with and sleep with people you've never been ever with. So this is my first time doing it, especially in the heart of LA, West Hollywood. First thing, you walk out in the gates, you see a bunch of homelessness, and it's very heartbreaking. But it's also, there's people out there that you got to watch your back for. And me, obviously knowing that, just being an LA guy from here, one of the things that I started learning is like, when I kept going on these trips. This was my 3rd trip to LA. And I was just going up there for actually a United Masters celebrating independency. Russ was there, a couple other artists that were independent artists. They're doing things on their own. They're not signed by anybody. I got to see some big time artists like Wiz Khalifa, Jay-Z was there, DJ Khaled, a bunch of people. They were obviously in the stands and everything. But I was leaving next morning, and I was going to my car, and I was just staring. Like I just got a shower, and I was sleeping in my car. I sleep in my car when I go to LA, just because, they're just those spontaneous, like quick couple day trips. Like I'd rather put those funds into my music. But, I stayed at this bungalow. It's a gated community, and I slept in the car. Then I took a shower. That's why I paid for that, aspect, 'cause it's like $20 or whatnot. And I was putting my stuff in there before I checked out, and this guy in this red hoodie, he was just sitting there in the game room staring. We locked eyes. It was really weird. And I'm just like still trying to wake up. I haven't had my Joe.
Right.
I haven't had that yet or anything. And I'm like closing my door, and then next thing you know it, he's like, hey, like he gets up and he like runs up to me. He's like, I feel like God told me to come over here and start talking to you. There's just something about your aura. There's just something about how you present yourself. Everybody in the complex has been saying that you're a music artist, that you're performing this and that, and everything. And like everybody like kind of just gravitated on that. They just how I was just being myself. And then I ended up, shortly after that, he was like, hey, I'm out here for, and I can't say the other details for it, but he was out there for some specific stuff for his acting and for his management that he does through Canada. He ended up doing all that. And then he told me, hey, let's go for lunch. Let's talk about this. And we started talking, on pretty much, it was like a couple hours shortly after that. And I walked Hollywood for a little bit, met with him, sat down, and then I ended up staying for 2 more nights with him. And we just kind of bonded together. And then crazy story after that, my second performance was for a Super Bowl thing. It was an experience. Let's just say that. I was expecting a lot better experience, but I made it worthwhile. Like, I hired somebody to video, take pictures as well. And then obviously the crazy story of how my manager was actually, he ended up coming from LA. He took a bus it was like 12 o'clock at night in LA, took a charter bus or whatnot, and then stayed in a red shack in South Mountain. Like, it was a kind of a scary little situation.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. It was crazy. And then he ended up staying here for about a week, and we were just spending time, doing a bunch of things. We went up to Sedona, we filmed content and everything. And then, that's basically how I ended up meeting my manager and, doing the shows. Like that was my second show. My first show was back in last June, when I just started making music. It was at Carousel. It was at a bar.
What was that like?
We're not talking about that. I was going to
say, let me catch you, because I could see it coming. So
it was, a lot of people liked my performance. I did get some, good fans, I guess you could say, from it. It was nice. I was grateful for that. But the music, it wasn't me.
Right.
Something a lot of people don't know, and I'm not afraid to say it, is I didn't write my own music when I first started. My Moving Forward album that I have out, that is the first album that I came back with. I wrote every single song in there, every single song. And from that to today, I've written every single song. I have so much unreleased music that, I obviously have taken a lot of time crafting my creativity and, my sound. I also invested in my sound, just like you've invested in,
the studio.
Your studio, it's you find ways to enhance your passion, and I had to take a step back, and I was like, you know what? I need to enhance my music career. I need to go the right path. So, I spent over like $5,000 in just equipment, and then obviously engineering my sound. It's
expensive, man.
It is. People don't get it.
It's expensive. All this shit's expensive.
I purchase all my beats. I purchase all my cover art if I don't end up making it myself, because I do collaborations still. It's just one of those things that life never ends when you're having fun, I guess you could say.
How do you pick the songs to go on your albums? Do you sit down with your manager? Do you sit down with a small focus group of family? Because I know you do everything independently on your own. Or do you just I'm feeling this. Or just I want this album to have a certain feel.
Yeah.
So I love this song, but I don't think it goes on this album.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's crazy how you say that, because I've started realizing, as me growing as an artist, I've taken a step back and thought listen, I want to structure things a little bit more smoothly, because on my Moving Forward, my first album, my actual album of my own music, that album, I had some sad, and then I had some rap. It's I was talking about my ex, and then I was talking about this song Happy Meal. It's like a Halloween type of music song. It's talking about, if you don't like clowns, I'm sorry, but you got Hey Georgie, you got all that and stuff. And I metamorphically made it to where it kind of, it's a hype song, And then I have one I made about Tom Brady called Black Sheep, So there's one of those things that like when you come into consideration of structuring how you want to structure the albums, the EPs, and then the singles, I've just taken a step back and thought like I need to have a better structure. So, you know, putting sad songs, but also having a couple hype songs, you know, what is this? Because I have so many names right now on my phone that I'm actually thinking about dropping an album here shortly. I don't know when yet, because I'm honestly focused on, because I was just doing EPs and albums, because I just wanted to get the music out there. But then I took a step back and I was like, I have so much music, but I need to know that like this is gonna be out there forever, you know? And I want,
that's good thinking about forward thinking there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and I've been more selective on what I put out there, more as far as like quality of what I've, you know, how I wrote the song, how full it is, you know, this and that. Like there's just so many things, because I have different style beats. Like I have the NF, the hard stuff. NF, when I bring up NF, that means I've brought up like hard rap beats pretty much. I have those, and then I have the Juice WRLD. What I mainly do is the sad music and stuff like that, the hyper pop. So do I want to mixturize hyper pop and pretty much hip hop and rap, you know, onto one album, or do I want to just put one? So it kind of just, it's one of those things. It's very hard to, as an artist, to put a certain amount of songs, like, because right now I could drop 2 albums if I wanted to. Am I going to do it? Probably not, because I know for a fact I want to release a couple of the songs, at least 6 of the songs I have as singles prior to releasing some albums with those songs on it. Because I believe in a lot of the songs that, especially right now, the songs that I'll be coming out with in the next couple months, I can tell you right now, there's one Billboard song in there.
Yeah?
There's one Billboard song.
You heard it here first.
I'm confident enough.
He's coming.
I'm coming. Yeah, but you know, it's one of those things that I'm humble about my growth. You know, I do put myself out there, but I'm also very humble, more humble than most people would think. Like, why isn't this guy like putting this and that? Like, I just came from a photo shoot, kind of a little nerve wracking, because it was the vibes a little bit were, you know, I needed some music, you know, but you know, it's one of those things that, you got to keep expanding your horizons. You know, I used to do photo shoots with my cars all the time, and now I'm sitting here doing photo shoots with myself. Like, it's a big transition.
It's huge.
Big transition. I started doing, it's weird because at the end of my car career, I was doing portraits with my car and myself. So it's kind of, when I look back and I'm like, okay, maybe I was giving kind of people a little hint, or God was putting a hint in me that I didn't realize at the time until now. Like, it was just the car, then it was the car and me. And then
no, it's just you.
Yeah, it's just me now. The car dissipated, you know, just let go.
Got a couple more questions for you. What's the biggest thing up until this point you think you've learned in the music industry?
Know who you're around. Know what you're doing. Even if you don't know exactly fully what you're doing, because there's a lot of things I don't know yet. Sure. But there's tons of things that I've learned as an artist independently since I've been on my own. I've self-taught a lot of my things that I've done. You know, from writing, self-taught myself through writing. It's kind of weird that I was able to do that, but it's just kind of more inspiring for those artists out there, people maybe in the car community that, you know, want to make music or that have it as a thought in their head. You know, I'll tell you right now, like, you could do anything you put your mindset, you know, to. And so, but the music industry itself is, it's, I mean, it has its ups and it has its downs. You just got to pick and choose where you want to end up, you know, where you want to put yourself in. Like, because at this point, I'm representing my brand. Like if I'm going to be around something music related, I want to make sure it represents my brand well. So, you know, just be careful. You just got to be careful. You got to protect yourself, and you got to know your ins and outs, what to do, who to invest your money that you've worked hard for, you know, who you're giving it to, you know, to basically expand your horizons. Because there's a lot of things that, you know, you can't sell your soul. It's one thing I won't do. And I'm fully probably going to say that I'm not going to sell my soul. No matter how, like if it came down to that, for me signing a huge record label deal, I would turn that down. Just because character to me is more important than a costly situation, you know?
Let me ask you this. So in that example, is that because once you sign those deals based on what you've seen and or may have learned from others, you're basically surrendering your right for independence, and now those record labels, they want you to do certain songs, certain things. Now you're contractually obligated.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what you have to do. You got to do what they say. Obviously, you do have a say as an artist, but you know, when I was doing management and everything, like there's a lot of stipulations that you have to go. There's so many different type of guidelines, rules. There's just so much out there, you know. You gotta know who. Like you gotta read the fine print. You got to read the red letters. You know, you got to read those things, because if you don't, you're going to trap yourself in a hole that you don't know if you can ever get out of. So
with that being said, from your transition from cars, going through your rough patch in 2020, 21, finding the music career, and essentially starting over with a new outlet, but still remaining yourself, what have you learned from people in the last few years?
A lot. That's a very deep question.
That's what I do.
That's a very deep question.
That's what I do. Because I got one more for you, but that's
that. Oh man, what have I learned from people? They come and go.
Yeah,
they come and go.
I've been there. They come and go.
The reality of life itself is finding a connective group of people that want to see you win and succeed in life. No matter what you're doing in life. Like if you want to go do something else than cars, go do it. You'll have those people that are in that community that truly are genuine, supporting you. That's one of the biggest things that I've kind of learned is like, if you're in the car community and you see somebody that you looked up to, or, you know, that was part of what you're doing, you know, like a prime example that I absolutely am grateful for is yourself and Ride or Die and the One Auto movement. Like that's one of the things. You guys don't just care about the cars. You care about the people, what they're passionate about. You know, it stands specifically for cars, but it has more meaning behind it, you know, like,
right.
You know, passion drives it, you know? So it's one of those things that you just got to build yourself around people, stay connected with a type of group like that. So I feel like it's so rare to find that in these days. You know, it's just, we've lost sense of meaning, you know? It's more just get, and it's not give, you know? So, something I've learned from people is just be careful who you trust, know yourself, and just strive to be better in life, you know?
Yeah, you know, and it's not just a cliche, but you really do find out who's in your corner when you feel like you're at your lowest in life.
Exactly.
If you can't give people what they're used to getting, whether it's you being the person behind the car club, you know, that benefit, then what good are you to them?
Exactly.
Unless they were genuinely invested in you as a person. Last question. This is kind of a fun one because you are an artist. I'm not gonna say you're an aspiring artist. You have songs out there. I have a song.
You have a song.
Yeah. When was it 6 or 8 months ago, you had hit me up, and it was like a premiere of the song, and I had played it actually on one of my stories.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
I just don't remember. Did you ever get to post it? Like actually on?
Yeah. It's been a while, but for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to listen to it.
Perception versus reality.
That's the
What's
question.
people? Yeah, that's the question. What is the people's perception of what's going on with Trey versus the reality of TRIGGA3?
Oh boy. See, there's so many things because
pick your biggest one because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there is. Perception versus reality of TRIGGA3. Okay.
You know, an example you gave earlier is like, you know, how much time you spent in prison.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
The reality is, I'm a manager at a cake shop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, the perception that a lot of people get from me is I'm just out doing the things I used to do, just because how late I stay up. I did have a drug addiction that I got back into, just because of my depression and anxiety and everything, and I fell back onto that. And I'm not ashamed to share it because I know a lot of people out there, they struggle with that, you know? Mm-hmm. And the first step for those people that are struggling is to admit you have a problem. And I had to admit that I had problems. And the reality of it is I'm on caffeine. That's what I am. That's what keeps me up. I mean, insomnia does keep me up too. Mm-hmm. So people always are like, why is this guy up at 3 a.m. and he has work at 7 a.m. in the morning? Work ethic. Like what you see on my Instagram, what you see on my Snapchat, whatever you see on social media today is who I am in reality. And that's one of the biggest things that I told myself, I'm not going to be like all these other people that try to put a, you know, picture on social media, faking what they actually are in reality. You know, for example, like a relationship or something like that, you know? It's just one of those things that like, you got to take a step back and think, am I going to portray myself in a different image from what people see like on an app versus my reality, or am I just going to be all around a genuine person? So that's kind of one of the things that, you know, perception to reality, what you see on my platforms is what you see in reality. So that's probably one of my, I guess that would be a good one I want people to know.
How can people follow your music?
I'm available on all streaming major platforms, Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud. That's where I put all my unreleased music, not all of it. Tezer, or Dezer, one of those. A lot of people don't.
I don't know.
A lot of people don't know what. Yeah. A lot of people don't know what that one is. Yeah. I honestly haven't even used it. YouTube. I am on YouTube. I do have one song that I did make a music video. Actually, independently made it a music video. It was all edited by me. Obviously, I had some help. I did it in Oklahoma City. So yeah, that was the start of it. There's definitely a lot more stuff, but you know, as an independent artist, I am growing my fan base. And I feel like this car community, if they liked the TRIGGA3 that they had with cars, they'll like the TRIGGA3 that's in music. So I just feel like it would be a great outlet. Hopefully, you know, I get to perform at anything. Like I'm open to any performances. So if anybody's out there listening to this, you know, I'm ready.
Thanks, Trey.
No problem. Thank you.
Hope you guys enjoyed TRIGGA3 in studio. Since we had that conversation a few weeks ago, his song has come out. It's called Summer Love. Check it out. TRIGGA3, TRIGGA, the number 3. TRIGGA3. I bought the song on Apple, but like he said, the song is out there all over the place. Summer Love. As he mentioned, his first song, he didn't really like it that much. It's called I Don't Know. Came out in 2022. There's definitely a big difference between that and a lot of his later music. So make sure you guys check that out. As I said in the opening, I talked about Puerto Rico before, and there's a few big things I forgot to talk about. And so the next episode, I will kind of recap some of those other stories from Puerto Rico, as well as Matt, the moderator, DeAndrea, is back on the show. We talk about Bravago and a few other small things, so be looking for that next week. I want to thank Right Honda and Right Toyota, Foil Online, Cell Shop Wireless Services, Patreon Business Supporter, Kuya Automotive out of Winter Garden, Florida, Pell Construction out of Caledonia, Michigan, Beak House Small Home Design out of Ashburn, Virginia, and Traverse City, Michigan, Shaving Success with Wes Tankersley, out of Boise, Idaho. If you're in a position to help the podcast upgrade, join the Patreon for as little as $3 a month to get access to bonus audio as well as show swag. Mark Stolman, Catherine Cox, Eddie Ramos, Richard Graves, Byron Jones, Bo Jung, Alice Kamina, Drew Bunkley, and David Garner. Thank you for your support. If you guys want to pick up a Hard Parking Podcast shirt, go to hardparkingpod.com. Questions, comments for the show, hardparkingpodcast@gmail.com. You can also join the Hard Parking Violations Facebook group. Thank you to all the new people who have joined. We try to keep it light over there. Have a good time. And make sure you tell everybody again, rate and review this podcast, please. I can't grow that you tell the world how great this show is. Let's do this. Let's grow this thing together, and I'll talk to you all next week.
Shut up!